Hmm. Okay, I have no idea what that's doing. I don't know. It's just not gonna play for me. So that's totally fine. Top of the morning, evening, afternoon, and good night to one and all. It is May 28th on Wednesday. I have a topic that I would like to talk about today. It is literally in the title. Let me explain. I already know that some people that are going to watch this are going to disagree. They are. They're going to say, Jay, my personal experience is my personal experience with that is not, it's not that. It's not. I have had a problem. I have a disease. I have an addiction. I'm not going to talk about whether or not a drug is an addiction, whether it's a disease. I'm not. I want to talk about something. So in Florida, there's this lovely little thing called, well, it was a thing called the pill mill. Essentially, people from all over the United States, there are plenty of documentaries, that's the right word, documentaries on this, whether it is American Pain, whether it's Painkiller, The Pharmacist. There's just a plethora of them. And something that they talk about in a lot of these documentaries is something that bothers me to the core. Now, this is coming from a previous guy that did a lot of drugs, like a lot of drugs. There wasn't a time, I think from 14 to probably 19, all I did was see Smurfs. I was either on acid, coke, ecstasy. I didn't smoke weed. It made me too paranoid. It was weird. I know you're like, but you could do LSD. I did all these drugs, a lot of them. And then there was even a point, and I think they're still on the video on my YouTube channel, of where I was super high outside of my house. Just gabapentin mixed with oxy, mixed with hydroxyzone, mixed with Vicodin, mixed with Xanax, all these different drugs. So I've been down this road before. But that being said, I think this is important to mention. Sometimes parents, yeah, this is a gray area. Sometimes parents will lose their child to drugs. And then these parents get pissed off that they could not control their children or control the amount of drugs that were going to their house. And their children essentially died. So they go after these manufacturers and they say that these drug companies did nothing to stop any of these addictions. This is where I disagree 100%. It's not up to the drug company. If the drug company creates fentanyl, okay, and that fentanyl is designed for a cancer patient, and then George over here that broke his toe feels that fentanyl is going to stop his pain and a doctor prescribes that, that's not the fentanyl's problem. That's not the manufacturer of fentanyl's problem. That's a problem between doctor and patient. Yes? Okay. Now, doctor says, hey, listen, I know you got pain. Here's some fentanyl. Now, George over here says, oh, God, fentanyl makes me feel good. George continues to take fentanyl. Doctor says, listen, that's a wrap, Jack. I gave you I don't know why a doctor is giving you fentanyl for a broken toe, but let's just assume in this scenario that he is. So now the doctor gives you this fentanyl. He says, I'm cutting you off. That's it. I gave you 20 days supply. George says, you know what? That's fine. I'm going to go on the streets and find me fentanyl there. And then it goes harder. And I mean, I don't know how much harder you get. Hydromorphone. I don't know how much harder you're going to get over fentanyl, but whatever. You get the point. So they have now they're addicted to fentanyl. Now they're addicted to street drugs. Whose problem is that? Let's look at responsibility levels here. It's not the manufacturer. Manufacturers make guns. They make rifles. It's not their fault that other people kill each other, right? No, it's not. That's the person that's behind the gun that's responsible for that death, not the people that make it. If Budweiser makes alcohol and people get drunk and drive, is it Budweiser's fault? No, because, well, that could happen with vodka. That could. When do people start taking responsibilities for the actions for which they're taking? The argument can be said is that responsibility is not mine. I don't have to take that because I didn't make that bill. The level of victimization that I see in the pain pill world, or not so much alcohol world, but you see it a lot on a lot of these documentaries where they're like, Purdue should have done something, right? And Purdue did do something. They changed it from oxycodone to OxyContin, and they made it harder to cut. But obviously that was after the fact. But it's not the point. I don't feel like they should have to do anything. If and I'm not sticking up for big corporations. Those things have nothing to do with whether or not you elect to swallow those pills or take those drugs. No one's forcing you to go on the street and go get illegal drugs. And the argument that you got that way because of the drugs that the doctor prescribed you, I will not disagree with that. I will agree with that because you got addicted to it. That's not a disease. Whatever. You got addicted to that. You couldn't get it anymore, so you figured out someone else to go get it. And then you picked up the wrong shit, you sniffed the wrong line, you died. Okay. Such is life, right? But you made those decisions. Nobody else did. And when you say, oh, I don't have control of my body, yes, you do. Yes, you do. Watch my old videos. And I'm not talking about, I'm not some preacher just saying that I've seen this firsthand. I not even seen it firsthand. I was that person. You choose to open up the bottle. You choose to put the pill inside of your hand, and then you choose to swallow it. There's no force feeding anywhere in there. That's all you, man. But for some reason, and it's not just America, this is everywhere, by the way, everybody does not want to take responsibilities for the things that they do. And it's not just drugs, it's just anything else. I can't get a job because they don't want to hire me because of my skin color. It couldn't have anything to do with that you didn't make it out of 6th grade, right? That has nothing to do with it. You won't look at all variables. And that's one of the good things about being a centrist, right? You're going to see both sides of it. Now, most Republicans, well, I don't want to drag politics into it because it's not really the point. But I was watching a thing yesterday where this guy, Louisiana, his son, a good-looking kid, 19, 20 years old, it's called The Pharmacist on the Netflix. This guy, long story short, break it down in a nutshell, his son's addicted to drugs. He's a pharmacist. That's weird, right? How did that come to be? There's a message in there somewhere. So the kid goes out to this place, Ward 9, Louisiana. He gets killed inside of the car over a drug deal for crack. What does the father who used to be a pharmacist do? Go after the drug manufacturers because it's their fault that he wanted crack. Explain to me the correlation between the two. How do you go from oxycodone to crack? Two very different drugs. Very different drugs. But because we don't want to take the responsibilities, like me, I was a bad father. That's it. I could have been better. My daughter maybe would have lived longer. Boom. See how easy that is? Take responsibilities for shit that you could be responsible for. Even if you're not, still take the responsibility. What is that going to do? Cost you a little bit of grief for a little bit of time? No. Sure. Okay. Well, that's it. That fixes the problem. But that's not what people want to do. They don't. And I think it's pathetic that we live in a world where people blame drugs for the actions that they do when in reality they have full control of the things that cause them to do those terrible things. Yes, 100%. Let me read chat real quick. Let me go over this chat. I wanted to say all that and get that off my head. Thank you, Jordan, for that big old fat donation. Thank you, Contraband. Thank you, Combat. Thank you. I got like 6 different chats to read, so give me a minute. Personal accountability. Yes, people do not. It does not matter. It could be talking about anything. It's like vaping, right? Let me use a different example. Vaping. I love vaping. I love it. And the argument is that vaping failed because we didn't do anything about it, or the pot. No, that's not what they say. What they say is that Republicans, or not Republicans, I'm sorry, politicians have other things that are more important, big tobacco, big pharma, so therefore they took it away from us. If all of the people that got together vaping and stood at Washington, D.C., not for a rally, not for a meeting, We just went there and did the Million Man March. Do you really think they would have still banned it? No. The problem is that everybody else was like, "Oh, not me. I'm not worried about it. There's people that have more of a voice than I do. Let them go do it." Okay. Well, how did that work out? It's the same thing. People do not want to take accountability for anything that they do unless it's something positive. I went out and I went shopping today and I got us coffee and chicken. That's what I did. What do you want? A trophy? You want a trophy for doing human being things? Okay, well, you're not going to get that because that's what you're expected. Well, I guess you're not expected to do it. You can. You can not do it and die, but these are things, right? I got out of bed today. Who's getting a high five? Not you. That's the answer. You did the bare minimum. Like you rolled out of bed, you ate a sandwich, and you went back to bed. You started off good, but you ended really bad, right? Okay, good. But people, they want a pat on the back because they finished a race. You want, because you figured out how to tie your shoes properly, you want someone to give you a cookie. Everything that we do, people need validation. If you go buy something right now, I have no idea where this came. This is not has nothing to do with the internet, by the way. But everything you do needs some type of validation. Everything. It does not matter. If you compete in a sport, you expect to get a certificate. People expect so much for so little. And it's just going to get worse. I can't see how it would get any better. How does society always cater to the weakest living in it? Society always cater to the weakest living in it. I think that depends on which society you're in. If you're in, let me look at America. Does America cater to the weakest living in it? No, no, I don't. I don't think so. I don't think that's accurate. I think in a socialist country, maybe. I don't. I would have to look at more of the economical breakdown in America as to what is middle class, what's poverty, what's lower class, what's upper class. I'd have to look at those numbers and try to evaluate that to see. But I would not agree that the society caters to the weakest living in it. I think we cater to the people with the most amount of voices, and that's actually statistically proven. Transgenders, Million Man March. The louder the voice, the more you're heard. Same thing with God. For those of you that believe in God, the more people that prayer, the power in prayer. The more people that pray, the more likelihood that God will answer. Right. So it's kind of the same thing. The louder you are, the more you'll get stuff done. The quieter you are, oh, they're not going to touch me because I make my own juice at home. Okay. So you're part of the problem, not the solution. But everybody wants to point fingers at, oh, Jay Hayes didn't do this, or Grim Green didn't do this, or Mike Vapes didn't do this. They always look at the biggest numbers. I did a video. This is kind of off topic, but it's not. It's funny. I did a video on YouTube, and on this video, I had labeled the e-bike as, what did I say? This bike should be illegal. It's grabby. Oh, should be illegal. What? The amount of comments that I have that says you should not label a bike like this because politicians are going to see this and then ban e-bikes. You really think they give a shit about my 16,000 viewed video? Really? And what do you think they're doing? Browsing YouTube, looking up illegal road bikes, illegal e-bikes? You really think that's what they don't need to do that? Why? Because on the news, they have people dying on e-bikes and burning apartment buildings down. I highly doubt that they're going to look at this. And the argument is you are an influencer. Okay, that's fine. I may influence you, but either way, at the end of the day, Who makes that decision? You do. You make the decision whether or not you want to do something that I'm influencing you to do. You make that decision. Are you now putting that responsibility on me because you can't do it? You don't want to say I made that decision. But on the flip side of that coin, if you did take my advice and I did influence you and you did what I said, you would not give credit to me if you did exactly what I said and it actually worked for you. You'd be like, I did it. I did it. No, you didn't. You did what I did. It's, hey, man, I purchased this product. I see you didn't like it. Fuck you, bro. Why are you looking up a product? This is off topic, but why are you looking up a product you already bought? I'm not going to look up a review of a PlayStation 5 if I've had it for a year and a half. Do you just need somebody to tell you good job? Because that's what you're looking for. Good job on buying something from a shelf. We are in trouble, people. We're in trouble, and I have no idea who's going to save us. Because it ain't you. It ain't the influencers. If nobody wants to take responsibilities, why don't you wear a helmet, Jay? All the people that watch you, it's going to encourage them not to wear a helmet. Are you not your own person? If you see a bunch of people, if you're pregnant and you're questioning everything and you drive past an abortion clinic, the women that are walking in and out of there all skinny and shit after having an abortion, does that make you go do it? I know it's dark, but does that make you go do it? Are you like, oh man, I could get my figure back if I just go suck this baby out of me? No, I want this baby. I love this baby so much. Okay, that's your decision. I feel like there's a lot of people that have this issue with I don't know, maybe it's bad parenting. I honestly have no idea. Excuse me. Maybe it's bad parenting. Maybe it's people with low self-esteem. I don't know. Well, it's not people with low self-esteem. I get a lot of shit for being narcissistic. What does that say to you if you take all the credit for something that I influenced you to do, but then you don't want to give me credit because it's positive, but if it's negative, you want to point the finger at me and say I am where I am because of this? It was a recent article I saw. You think that these would not exist anymore, but they still do. Like there's a recent one from 2025. I think it was February or March, where a guy goes into a hospital. This is no joke. He's 43 years old. He ends up getting lung cancer, right? He's been vaping for the past 4 years. They blame the lung cancer that he has on the vaping that he did the past 4 years. Keep in mind, this guy smoked for 23 years prior to that. 23, 24 years prior to that. But because the last thing that he did was vaping, that's the first thing you point your finger at, saying it's their responsibility as to what started your lung cancer. Really? So what about all those years of smoking? You don't think that had anything to do with your lungs? You think that because people smoke for 15 years and then they get lung cancer 10 years later. It doesn't happen overnight. Sometimes it does, but I mean, I'm not a doctor, so don't get this twisted. But you could a quick Google, a quick search on the interwebs, you'll find this that just because you quit smoking doesn't mean you still can't get cancer. There's people that never touch a cigarette and still get cancer. But you're quick to point the finger at this. This is because of this. This is why that happened. Nobody wants to take responsibility in any regard, at any time whatsoever, if it's a negative thing. Nope. Oh, we didn't work out because you're a piece of shit. Oh, it has nothing to do with you? Nothing at all. It's 100% their fault. Okay. The likelihood of that ever happening is zero. It's never 100% somebody's fault. There's always partial 80-20, 50-50, 60-40. You pick the number. Trust me, I've done this 5 times. It's whatever. Could I have stayed? Yep. Knowing that other penises have ran through her? Yep. I could have, but that was enough for me. So maybe I'll take that 30%. That's fine. People just don't. And I think having a more centrist aspect, a more centrist view, left and right, that there is, because that's what life is, right? And I think this is ironic because I am a Libra, right? And I'm not getting into zoology. That's not it. Zoology is the study of wacky animals. That's no, I feel like that's not it either. That's called something else. Zoology, I honestly don't know what word I was looking for, but zodiac, there it is. Yeah, I'm not into zodiacs, but Libra is a sign of balance, and I found that the more years that I'm around, the more there is no right and wrong. Right? It's not that easy. You just can't look at a side and be like, okay, that's right. You have to pick which side is better, but to say which one is right or wrong, who's the judge that? The person that's getting affected by it, not you. Just like the person that does not like abortions because, well, you just think it's taking a life, but it's in the Bible that you can't judge anybody. That's God's way to judge. But then you see those Christians sitting outside of an abortion clinic. It's in the Bible. Did you forget that part, or are we just picking and choosing what we want to remember? You're just picking and choosing. Okay, okay, all right. So you're gonna burn in hell for judging me. So there we go. That's done. But we have this. We have this everywhere. People all want to tell you to be better, but them themselves are doing absolutely nothing to do better. But they're quick to point a finger. Oh, you're wrong. You're wrong. Oh, wow. All right. Well, all these years I've been doing it wrong. But there's no right, there's no wrong. And I think it's all about balance. Finding that middle ground and saying, okay, I see the left side, I see the right side. It's probably better we do the right side. Which one's going to affect more people? More people. Okay. I also don't think that men should pass laws or women should pass laws on abortion. I think it is quite literally as day and night as that sounds. It's your body, it's your choice. I know that makes me sound like a liberal, but that's your decision, is it not? Because once we lose control of what we have, we've lost everything already. Right? The only thing that you have control of is what happens to you. Right? You're the one that makes those ultimate decisions, and you're the one that has to take the responsibility for it.